Welcome to the Visionary Voices and Insights podcast, where we explore the world of business through the eyes of leaders, founders, and innovators. Whether you're just starting out or scaling up, we've got the insights and the stories to inspire your journey. On this episode of Visionary Voices, we are speaking to Lewis Evitt. Now, Lewis is the CEO of Social 90, which is a marketing agency that's worked with some incredible clients such as the United Nations. Not only that, he is the Chief Marketing Officer of GCC, which is an entrepreneurs club. They do events across the world, and so we can dive into everything networking as well. Finally, he has a background in professional rugby playing. So when it comes down to lifestyle, business, fitness, he has so much knowledge, and we're going to dive into all of that in today's episode. So I hope you enjoy. Please make sure that you rate this on whichever platform that you're listening to, as it will really help the show. Thank you very much. So Lewis, welcome to the show. Can you give us a top level view of what it is that you do and your journey so far, and then we can dive into those things a little bit more?
Yeah, cool. First and foremost, thanks for having me, Akil. Very excited to be on today. So my name is Lewis Evitt. I'm 26 and I'm from the West Midlands. I run a marketing agency called Social 90. We specialize in paid ads, SEO, and websites. We also do some other little bits and bobs like app building, email marketing, that sort of thing. As well as this, I am the CMO of a private members club called GCC, and currently launching a info product called Agency Architecture, and finally a e-commerce product called No Way.
Nice.
So main thing is the agency, but doing some other little cool things as well on the side at the moment.
Definitely. No, that all sounds really, really good. I mean, how did you get started in the agency space, right? Because you've been in the game for a lot longer than I have. And so you're very, very experienced in all these different areas. So how did you get started in it?
Yeah, I suppose my route is a little bit unique, I would say, to how most people get in the agency space. So I moved away from home when I was 15 to play professional rugby for a team called Leicester Tigers. They're like a Prem team in the UK. Lived there, trained every day, lived and breathed rugby for 3-4ish years. When I was sort of early 18, had a really, really bad injury. Completely blew out my knee, did like all the ligaments, dislocated it.
Damn.
Whatever, really, really bad. And to cut a long story short, was told I would never play rugby again. I'd be lucky to even play any form of sport again. Had this unreal surgeon who managed to work some miracles. And as a process of that, a good portion of my 19 sort of years old life was spent lying in bed staring at the ceiling rehabbing. Was in like a brace for 6 months, was in a wheelchair for a good part of that. And so I was sort of lying there thinking, got to do something. I completely messed up my A-levels because I couldn't go to them. I'd messed about in college because, just wanted to play rugby all day. And I thought I've got to do something. I started to get my mind wavering a little bit, very bored, played all the Call of Duty I could play. 100 prestige, and so I started looking into sort of e-com and like Wi-Fi money, and I started up a little business that was basically just drop shipping third party and building supplies. Really boring, mate.
Right.
But I was able to grow that within like 6 months to about £250,000
Wow.
turnover. And it was going really well, and I actually continued to run that for a few years after. And obviously, just doing that, I learned a lot about marketing and service delivery, and sales, admin, tax, all of these sorts of things that a normal 19-year-old you wouldn't necessarily expect them to know. And my USP was always that I was a young business owner. It's something that I still carry on to this day. And then sort of from there, I thought, the services that I was offering for this business that I set up as a marketing perspective, that was the sort of things that really interested me the most. So setting my marketing agency, Social 90, literally, mate, charging people like couple £100 a month.
Yeah.
And what we were doing was basically our niche was working with professional rugby players who were in the back part of their career or who had been injured, much like myself, but necessarily had a big personal brand because they were, you know, famous somewhat, and how they can leverage that personal brand to go and create opportunities for themselves in the future. So we work with like British and Irish Lion, Alex Cuthbert, Gibran Grobler, who's a South African international. We work with a couple of footballers, and yeah, just charge them a couple £100 a month. And I suppose, to cut a long story very short, from there just went on, offered more services, started charging more, went more down the B2B route. So working with a lot of service-based businesses, property maintenance companies, property developers, construction companies, which obviously justify a much larger price tag, and sort of transitioned ourselves into bringing traditional based businesses into like the 21st century in terms of their marketing, and just coming in full stack. We're going to do everything for you. We're going to use socials for you. We're going to do your SEO for you, build your new website, do your ads for you. And that's sort of where we are today. And yeah, my marketing agency has allowed me to have all the opportunities, meet people like you, and do cool stuff.
Yeah, no, amazing. That's such an interesting journey. I agree. It's very unorthodox the way you went about it. I guess going back to the start, when you were lying in that hospital bed, what type of mindset shift did you have to make, right? Because you're in that really, I guess, dark place, right? You just had your career essentially pulled out from you. I guess what mindset shifts did you have to go through in order to then be like, okay, this is what I need to do now and get motivated to start? Because that's the thing with most people is, most people have the ability to do these things, but it's just starting is a thing, right? Everyone's got their reasons, everyone's got their excuses. But what was it for you that really pushed you from that really deep and dark place to pushing in, have $250,000 business very early on like that? That's crazy. So how did that happen?
What I would say is the previous 3 to 4 years of my life, I've been very conditioned to just be a follower, to just do what I was told. Much like the military, I would describe it, and like the similarities in it, that the training that we did in terms of like, just doing what you were told all the time, do what you're told by the coach, and do what you're told by the management and that sort of thing. I imagine was very similar to like the military. You just do what you're told. You're conditioned to think like that. And I think that I did that from when I was 15. So had a young, very impressionable mind, and wake up at 6 a.m, train, go to college, train, eat, train, sleep, train, repeat for 4 years. And it was very much like I was in a box, very narrow-minded. All I wanted to be was a rugby player. I didn't care about anything else. Didn't really care about what anyone else thought. Nothing like that. And then when I was lying in that bed, I had to try and flip my mindset to, well, actually, now I need to go from being a follower to a leader, because I truly believe to be a business owner, not just a business owner, but an owner operator, which a lot of us are, especially in that initial phase of your business. You have to wear so many hats. And actually, you just got to back yourself. You just got, because no one else is going to do it for you. You got to rely on yourself. And that was the biggest mindset transition, I would say. Subsequent to that, one of the things that I think now I would say is anyone can start a business, but not everyone should. If I knew now what I knew back then, the mistakes I've made, the money that I've wasted, as you know, mate, that could cripple a lot of people. If you haven't got it in you, you'd pack it in and go, I'm going to just follow that normal route, that uni route, that going to a corporate job. And I'd say if I hadn't gone through the shit that I'd gone through, that made me mentally as strong as I think I am, I wouldn't have probably persevered with my business.
No, I completely agree, because you're right. Not everyone can start one, but not everyone can, continue and see it through. I know for myself, there were times where it's like, do I keep pushing now? Because it's just, everything's so hard, right? And everything's really painful as well. Because your business is basically your life. It's like your little baby. And so when that's not doing well, it's like, you're very stressed about it. And I agree, not everyone can really, see it through. I guess when you've transitioned from sports to business, and then from the initial businesses to the agency now, what's it been like building the team out? Because a biggest thing that find with business owners, myself included, right? You wear a lot of hats in the beginning, as you said, and then you have to transition to giving some of that power away to other people. How have you found that transition for yourself, going from, one person team to multiple people on the team?
Yeah, so I think it's really difficult, especially as I said, in that owner operator position, because your business is like, as you said, your baby.
Mm.
It's almost like you have to, you've always relied on yourself, you've always got results for yourself, but then all of a sudden you have to give some of that responsibility elsewhere. And actually, when it comes down to it, those people, they can go and get another job. Where if it's you and they make a mistake, they cost you money.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's out of your back pocket. You're the one who's going to be dealing with the consequences. So yeah, really difficult. What I would say is I'm really, really fortunate to have some great, hardworking team members who actually trust implicitly. For me, there's like this management matrix, right? There's 4 areas to a management matrix. There's like low skill, high drive. There's high drive, low skill. There's and there's a couple of others, but normally when you start a business, you're hiring from high drive, low skill,
Yeah.
or you're hiring from like low skill, low drive, because that's essentially what you can afford.
Yeah.
Especially when your first hires, you're not putting people on like 60 to 100k salaries.
Yeah.
And because of that, there has to be an element of like trust from your side. And I've always actually been really, really fortunate, I think, to actually be able to hire people who have had like high skill and high drive, which are like otherwise known as A players. And I don't know if that was just luck, to be honest with you. I'm not going to sit here and say that I've got some awesome secret hiring process, awesome recruitment company that I've used. I just think, I've hired from my internal network, people who I sort of know, people who I think, could I go for a beer with them? I can go for a beer with them, mate. I can work with them.
Yeah.
So that's how I've sort of approached that.
Yeah.
I would also just say, finally, I waited until I could afford still quite a decent hire. I've never been a believer of hiring like a low skill hire. I would rather just be like, go do this, come back to me when it's done to the best of your ability, and I don't really care what I've got to pay.
Yeah.
And I think this is the mistake that a lot of people make. They just go and try and hire someone who can get it done the cheapest.
Yeah.
Too much contact time, loads of mistakes. I would just rather pay the money, get it right first time round.
No, I completely agree, because one of the companies that I work really closely with are recruitment agencies, and we see this all the time with trying to retain staff and getting these staff on and stuff. And I like the approach of treating them as like a friend, right? Can I go for a beer with them? Can I go out with them? And I think that's the frame people, managers, need to go through in order to find that talent that you found, and then you can really grow that business and get those A players through. So yeah, no, I love that. I guess when it comes down to networking, because of course me and you met through networking groups and GCC, which you're now the CMO of. For you, when I look at the way you do it, it seems very effortless, right? Like you're you can just go around and talk to people very, very easily. How did you develop that skill, or were you always like that? Because I know for me and a lot of other people, we find it a little bit more challenging to go around and network with people and things like that. But for you, it seems very, very effortless. So how did that work for you?
Yeah, I appreciate that, mate. I can assure you it's not as effortless as it may seem. I think look, as much as I was in a bad place for a lot of my rugby playing career, it also taught me a lot. How to socialize with people, how to lead, how to be a leader but also a follower, and which is a phrase I use a lot. Networking isn't just about talking. It's not just about listening. It's that exchange and that discord.
Yeah.
And I think the key, my absolute top tip for networking, because it's a really interesting subject for me, is I put a huge value of what can I do for someone that takes no effort, it takes no cost, it's not going to cost them anything. How can I link them up? How can I give them that free value, that reciprocity? So that's like my first and foremost, like go and flood someone with a load of value, and actually build rapport with them. I see so many guys, especially like young guns,
Mm.
just trying to sell. They get into a community, they're DMing people trying to sell them their product. Just fuck that off
Yeah.
completely. Just just be yourself and build genuine relationships with
Mm.
people first and foremost. Um, so that's number one. Number two is to network in circles above you. There's two ways in which you get into them, and it links to that point that I just made. Number one, you just pay your way into those circles. There's that monetary friction point. So you just pay your way into those circles. Obviously, that's not doable for everyone. So number two is what I'd say to get into those higher circles. You need to be able to offer those people something that they can't just pay for, a piece of value, knowledge, or skill or ability that they can't just pay for. Um, so that's a little bit of a hidden gem. But in
Mm.
terms of like me, it's just, I suppose, a skill that I've developed over a long time. I've always put a massive value on my business in terms of networking. Just be that guy, be that authority figure within the niche. For me,
Mm.
I like to be like the marketing guy. So all of my clients come through recommendation. We do, as a marketing agency, we don't do any outbound. We
Wow.
don't do any ads funnels. We don't do any SEO on our website. We don't, if you look at our social medias, we maybe post once every couple of months. It's
Mm.
all through inbound, all through networking,
Wow.
um, which I think is very very powerful.
Mm.
Get people coming to you as opposed, and the conversion rate on that is so much higher. The sentiment is so much higher than just going and running like an ads funnel. But you have to be prepared to put in that time to develop those relationships and actually spend some money on traveling to see those people, traveling to see your network who you've built up.
Mm.
Um, if you're prepared to do that, it will be very fruitful, I believe.
I completely agree because I know in GCC, if you want to get the value out of it, you need to put the value into it. And I think
Yeah.
that was the game changer for me because for me, like a lot of my close friends now have all come from one group, which is crazy to think about. But that's all
Mm.
because you get out there, you provide value, help them where you can. And then in turn, they'll also help you and send you clients and things like that as well. And I know for a lot of people within GCC, Sam Henry, etc., they've had their businesses really blow up over the last couple of years because of utilizing the group, utilizing the resources available. And so it's really just about, are you putting in the value, and then you'll get the value out of it. And that's, as you mentioned, is really the way you need to network. And so I completely agree.
Yeah, totally, mate. I mean, whether it's GCC, whether it's Chambers of Commerce, whether it's your local coffee morning or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever scale you want to look at it,
Mm.
and this is in people in general. What you I have two really good sayings. What I like is how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yeah.
So what you put into people, you will get out of people, and you should do that with everyone. You shouldn't prioritize certain people because you've got certain agendas with certain people. There's been times when I've thought, oh, nothing will come of this relationship. I've still
Mm.
put the effort in just because why not? And they've been like hidden gems, sleepers. They've come to me and go, oh, I want you to build this website. Oh, Lewis, here is 10 grand to go and
Yeah.
run this ads funnel. Um, so give everyone the time of day, give everyone the opportunity,
Mm.
give everyone the same amount of value. Um, and yeah, I think you will always benefit from it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that's the thing that you just mentioned is time. All this takes a lot of time. And I feel like today, in today's world, especially in the agency space with, everything that's, the amount of people that's in the agency space, everyone's very transactional. It's very much like, if I put in 10 minutes of work, what am I going to get out in terms of monetary, value? But with networking, it works differently. You need to keep putting in the value, really expect nothing back, but then you will get something back. But the time frame of that, you can't quantify, right? You need to just be okay with the fact that it will happen someday, but you just need to keep putting in the work and laying the foundations within your network, within your social circles and everything.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, one of the things that I would really hope that people would appraise me for is I don't care, mate, if you're making 10K a year
Yeah,
or you're making 100 million a year. I will treat you exactly the same. And
yeah,
if there is a way in which I can help the 10K a year guy, I will still help them. They're not beneath me. They're not below me. They're beside me. And I think that actually that's where some guys go really, really wrong.
mm,
Um, don't get me wrong, our time is our most valuable thing and it needs to be used wisely. but there should never be this superiority complex of, you know, they're not they're not good enough to speak to me or something like that, because
Yeah.
I've seen these 10K a year guys shoot to a mil a year guys quicker than these 100K a year guys can get to 200K in a year.
Yeah.
So give everyone a time of day, and just be a fucking good person. I know I'm a bit of a rogue sometimes. I would like to generally think, overall I am a good person who will always try and help someone.
Yeah, yeah, no, 100%, and I can see that as well. I guess I want to shift a little bit more into your traveling because you're very well traveled. So, what is the
Mm.
motivation behind you traveling? Because you live this life where you're running this online business, you're doing really well, you're traveling to all these places, and a lot of people that are starting out, want that type of life. So, for you, for traveling, what is traveling to you?
Um, I think it links back to that networking side of things.
Mm,
There is as many as there's loads of online communities out there like GCC, there is absolutely no substitute for getting face to face and in a room with someone.
yeah,
Um, just humans are built, they're wired that way. I've done a lot of reading into the psychology of communication and that sort of thing. And essentially, when it all comes down to it, there is no substitute for just getting face to face with someone. Um, so I put a massive value on traveling. Probably my highest expenditure in my business is through travel, through meeting clients, spending time with them, because you have to constantly, that you can't just be friends with someone, offer someone value and then not speak for a year. You constantly
yeah,
have to be at the forefront of people's mind. Um, for me, again, just I'm from Wolverhampton, right? I say I'm
mm.
from the Midlands. It's because I don't want to say I'm from Wolverhampton. I'm from Wolverhampton, which I'm pretty sure at one point was voted the fifth worst city to live in the world. Um,
Wow.
so so as you can imagine, there's not many luscious green mountains and
Yeah.
blue lakes dotting about Wolverhampton. You might be lucky if you can jump in a canal or two there. Um, but so my thoughts were like, my parents actually, they sort of started a travel company. So we've always been fortunate enough to travel as a kid, been to some amazing
Wow.
places, flew on Concorde, as a
Wow.
little baby.
Yeah.
And I, so I've sort of been brought up to always put a lot of respect on travel. Um, I also think it's super accessible these days. I've
Mm,
got friends and they've never been on a plane. It's not because they can't afford to go on a plane. It's just they don't put a priority on it. And I'm thinking,
mm,
this world is so big. There's so
yeah.
many things to see, things to do, cultures to experience. Um, I just think what in the ages between 20 and 30, any opportunity that you get to go anywhere, just say yes, just do it.
Mm,
It's really helped me grow as a person.
mm,
It's helped me learn a lot more about how different people think and how different people from different countries think, even down to, again, the psychology of uh, how they spend money, what they spend money on, what do they prioritize in life, family, business, that sort of thing.
mm,
You can only do that actually if you're going and seeing that. It's also helped me become a lot more tolerant to um, people by learning how other people sort of in other cultures do
yeah.
things. Um, a lot more tolerant towards my friends and my family and
Mm,
and that sort of thing. Um, so yeah, get out, travel, see the world.
mm,
It can be you don't have to be traveling business class and first class
yeah.
everywhere. Staying in a 5-star hotel, which is pretty ironic because I am a bit of a travel snob now. But when I first started, get a backpack, go
Yeah.
and dot off 6 months and see the world.
Yeah, yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, the way I like to really summarize that is, you're on a mission to understand the world, right? And when you
Yeah,
understand the world to that nature, relating back to business and networking, everything, it will just supercharge that as well. And networking, as we mentioned, is super, super important. I guess when you've been getting started and really growing as your business, because, business owners hit this wall, right? If it's 10K a month, they hit that wall. If it's 50, 100, 200, whatever it's going to be, for you, have there been any mentors or people of significance in your life that have helped you navigate those walls and help you break through them?
yeah, for sure. So what you're actually speaking about there is something that it's called the Dunning-Kruger effect, and it's
Mm,
basically this scale. So when you're just starting out, you have relatively low knowledge.
yeah,
You have like loads of quick wins, so you're at a peak. And then what happens is the more that you learn about the business and actually the friction points of the business, you go into this thing called the valley of despair because you're
yeah,
learning about all the problems that you've got to overcome. And if you can break out the valley of despair, you get this thing called the plateau of sustainability. And the plateau of sustainability, most businesses fail in the valley of despair. They fail at that 10K per month sort of mark.
Yeah.
They're thinking, right, I'm at 10K a month, but they can't break to 20 or 30 or 50K per month. I actually think if you break from 10K a month, you get to 50K a month quicker than if you were to get from 0 to 10K. It always seems to be like an arbitrary figure that people stick at.
Yeah.
But I would say to get out that valley of despair, one of the biggest things is mentors, upskilling, training, speaking to people who have been there, done it, and got through it. For me, I will always, always, always attribute everything, all my success to my parents. My mum and dad are probably the most hardworking people I know. My dad is my best friend. Very similar to me, very entrepreneurial. I think that's probably innately where I got a lot of my learnings from. Not necessarily him sitting down and teaching me, but being 13, 14 years old in his office, doing a 10,000 order mail shot to send out a load of leaflets to people, and in paying me £3 an hour, so stuff like that. So I'd say my dad. I've got, as I said, some great friends. I've got a couple like ride or dies who have been like my best mates for years, and no matter what happens, they're the people who keep it real with me, call me out my bullshit, which I think is really, really important. I've got a great support network. I've been with my girlfriend for 6 years now. We have a really understanding relationship. We don't live together, which isn't the norm, but it really works. She's got her own business. She's very successful in her own right. So yeah, the stars sort of aligned a little bit that with me. I've paid for a lot of mentorship. Some of it has been brilliant. Some of it has been terrible. I think that's sort of a ring of fire that you have to walk through on your own. And you just become a lot more aware to it. So yeah, I suppose that answers your question.
Yeah, no, nice. No, I love that. And what you said at the end with, when you pay for these mentorships and things like that, sometimes you will get burnt, but there's lessons in everything, right? So if you did get burnt, or you feel like you didn't get the value that they said you were going to get, well, you've learned what to look out for next time when it comes down to finding a mentor, right? And so there's always something to learn, and you just got to chalk up to the game overall. But I completely agree. Your closest friends, your family, doesn't have to be business mentors specifically, but those types of people can push you and motivate you to keep going and everything. So I mean, with your info product, then, if people want to get started, what does that look like for them? What are the steps they need to go through first to really get started on this journey that we've been speaking about?
Yeah, so I suppose this is the opportunity for the shameless plug. So my info product is called Agency Architecture. You can find it at thisisagencyarchitecture.com. There's a free community. It's got a free module on there that you can join. And then obviously, if you want to give me a bit of money, you can join the whole course. My view of making that was I've always been very passionate, genuinely passionate. I used to run my own podcast about helping young entrepreneurs, trying to give people a little bit of the head start that I probably didn't have. A lot of the knowledge and things that I was self-taught on took me probably longer than it should have done, just because I didn't have that resource. And also just someone relatable, someone who was also young in the same position doing it. I think a lot of it is down to confidence. So agency architecture, it's not going to teach you how to get to 10 or 20 or 30K per month. That isn't what I've built for. I just teach you how to earn to like an extra couple grand per month, because I truly believe for a lot of people in the position that I was in at 19 years old, a couple grand a month extra is life-changing money. And I don't say that sparingly. And it isn't hard to earn a couple grand per month, and I don't want to sound really arrogant with that, but there are just, I don't think we realize there is so much money in the world. There is so much potential and money to be earned. The issue is that as a society, we're conditioned to not want to go out and break the mold. We're conditioned to sit at our desks all day from 9 to 5. And if you're doing that, that's completely fine, and you're happy doing that, that's completely fine. But if you want to go and travel the world and see different things, then you need money to be able to do that. And the course, I truly believe, it's basically, it works chronologically. So it goes through like business setup, service delivery, how to sell, how to close, as well as some even how to run very base level ads, um, that sort of thing. And it's like a business in a box.
Mm.
It's not really long and monotonous. It's like 4 or 5 hours of content with very actionable tasks and steps for you to complete at the end of each lesson and the end of each phase. By the end of it, if you follow all the tasks, all the lessons, you will be able to, have a
Yeah.
small agency. Or if you're a freelancer who wants to sort of level up their game a little bit, you can do that. And finally, if you're just running a business, say you're running a business selling trainers, you could do the course and it'll teach you a load of things about actually how to market your business. So that's the idea with the course, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Quite
I love that because, as you mentioned, a couple grand a month for everyone really is life changing money. Even if you're 25, you're 30, and you got and you get an extra 2 grand a month, that could be 100% increase in your overall earnings, right? Which is
Yeah, yeah,
huge for a lot of people.
yeah.
So I agree. Where can people find you if they are interested in getting involved with the course?
Yeah, so head over to my Instagram. The links are in my bio on the Instagram. Head over to School Agency Architecture, and the website is thisisagencyarchitecture.com. All the school links are on there. What I would say to people is don't go and buy the course.
Mm,
I don't care. Don't go and buy the course. Just join the free community.
mm,
Join the free community. Let me do the whole Mosey style by flooding you with a load of value. I'm sure that you'll see the production. The production level of it is second to none.
yeah,
It took me 8 months to build out this course. Production level is second to none. The worksheet that comes with it is second to none, I believe. And it looks great. It's really easy to navigate. Go and do the free module. If you like it, go and join the whole course. There's an ongoing community that we've called the Foundation after that. If you want like monthly Q&As that you can be part of,
mm,
I'm running with myself and another friend in GCC. But yeah, go do it. If you think it's rubbish, tell me. And I'll even try and help you one to one and take your feedback.
Amazing, amazing. So the final question I always ask the guests on the show is, if you can go back to your 18-year-old self, you can only take 3 lessons with you, whether it's mindset, business, philosophy, whatever it's going to be. What would those 3 things be, and why would it be those things?
Okay. So number one would be surround yourself with the right people. Um, it took me 6 years to really find my people. As I said, I've had a few ride or dies. I've got a few ride or dies, should I say? But surround yourself with the right people. The amount of times that I've been burnt, mate, and not just from an emotional perspective, but from a monetary perspective, and just been done over, um, you know,
Yeah,
it is too many times. What I would say in that, it makes you a stronger person. I do think everyone needs to go through that.
yeah,
They need to go through that. So that's number one. Number two is, I would say, focus on being really transparent and authentic. This is something that I've really been trying to develop myself as a person on over the last 3 years in particular. When I was 19, when I was 20, I had way more money than the average 19 or 20-year-old. And bought my dream car. I really cared about the superficial stuff,
mm,
the nice watch, the dream car, going out and spending ludicrous amounts of monies every Saturday in a club with the bottle show to try and look
yeah,
like the big man. None of that really interests me now. I don't get me wrong. I love having fun. I love having nice things. Like
yeah,
like any next guy, that's what we do all of this for. But have your main focus on being transparent and authentic and just being yourself. Don't try and be someone who you're not. We live, especially I think as males now, in a society where there's a lot of expectations to be and act a certain way.
yeah,
Um, I just think just be yourself. I literally don't care what anyone thinks about me. I'm just going to be myself. And I actually think that's why I build really good relationships with people.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and then finally, I think I would say, if you have a goal, be hell bent on that goal and find out the one metric to success for achieving that goal, in the sense of whether you're working with a client, they don't care about how you're going to get them success. They just care about the success. Just find out the most important thing to them in achieving success and what moves that needle, and focus on achieving that. And whether that's for yourself or for a client, just focus on doing that and be hell bent on achieving that, and don't stop until you achieve that. Being an entrepreneur is really, really hard, and you're going to go through some shit, and you're going to feel like you want to give up. You're going to feel like some days you want to cry, and one day it will all click, and you'll think, "Fuck me, what I've been doing all of this time." But you
Yeah.
have to go through the shit to get to that.
Amazing, amazing. Well, thanks for coming on the show. It's been an amazing episode. I've learned a lot myself. So thank you very much.
But cheers, mate. I appreciate the opportunity.